Good morning, students. We shall move to next topic. In the paper Translation Studies, we are studying or discussing second unit, History of Translation. In History of Translation, in the previous video, we discussed education and vernacular. That is, how translate the exercise translation is helpful for learning in another language. That is what we studied. Along with that, who are all the other scholars who discussed the translation? That's what we discussed in the previous video. And moving to the next topic, early theorists. What do the early theorists say? The initial, the beginning stage of the translation theories. What do they say? Okay, so we shall have a discussion on it. So early theorists. With the invention of printing press, the translation underwent several changes. Many translations were made and several translation theories were also written. Now translation is more of learning a language. And see, with the invention of printing press, many translations were made and lots of translation theories were also written. Okay, printing press is a revolutionary. The invention of printing press made a revolutionary change in human history because the knowledge very easily accessible to everybody. Okay, and because of printing press, a revolutionary change took place. Protestantism also took place because of printing press, and so that the Bible was translated in all European languages. And not only Bible, all languages, all texts were translated in all European languages. So therefore, naturally, there could be many versions of translation. Why this translation, this version of translation is better than this one, and what are the problems in this version? What are the positive traits in this translation? Everything was discussed during during Renaissance. This was done, but Renaissance and the invention of printing press both are equally same. We cannot say that on this year, in this year, this Renaissance took place. Not like that. Renaissance is the rebirth, the reawakening. It took place around 200 years. Okay. So the scientific attitude was developed because of Renaissance, and when Renaissance was over, almost all people developed a kind of scientific attitude. Okay, so because of Renaissance, translations underwent several changes. Okay, and many theories were developed, and many translations were done from one language to another language. Especially literature text and inventions and philosophies, everything was translated from one language to another language. And next point, because of discoveries of continents, islands, and new nations, Europeans understood the importance of translation. See, because of discoveries of and many continents, several continents and many islands, and discoveries of new nations. They discovered a sea route to India, and they discovered many African countries, African nation, and their language and culture. And Europeans understood the importance of translation. Okay, so in order to contact them, communicate with them, translation is essential, and Europeans understood the importance of good translators. Okay, so that's how translation got its own importance. And when as translation and translation theories got importance, many translation theories were developed, and one of the most ancient translation theorists in Europe was Etienne Dolet. Okay, he is a French humanist, and he is said to be a proper translation theorist. Okay, and he pointed out that Plato's dialogues were mistranslated. Okay, it was he who first pointed out that Plato's philosophies were mistranslated into many languages because there are no proper translation theories. Okay, since there was no proper translation theories, many translators mistranslated Plato's dialogues, or even Aristotle's philosophy were mistranslated. So, Dolet published a book called How to Translate Well from One Language to Another Language. Okay, so this book is said to be a proper the first translation theory book. Okay, so in Europe, this is said to be the proper translation theory book, the first proper translation theory book, namely How to Translate Well from One Language to Another Language by Dolet. Okay, so actually this book was published in French language, and the title of the book is translated one. Okay, so in this book he pointed out 5 principles. Okay, let me explain those 5 principles. The first one, the translator must fully understand the sense and meaning of the original author, although he is at liberty to clarify obscurity. So what does he say? The translator must translate the sense, every sense and meaning of the original text. Okay, he can never compromise the meaning of the SL text. Okay, at the same time, he is at the liberty. He can write in his own words to clarify the obscurity of the SL text. Okay, so for certain phrases, certain words may be obscure if it is translated in the TL for the TL readers. So such paragraph and such sentences could be translated in his own way. So that is what the first principle according to Dolet. And the second one, the translator should have perfect knowledge of both SL and TL. Okay, the grammar system, the culture system, the vocabulary. So everything the translator must know both in SL as well as in TL. Okay, and the third principle, the translator should avoid word for word rendering. Okay, so this type of translation, the translator should always avoid word for word translation. And fourth principle, the translator should use form of speech in common use. Okay, especially in TL, for the sake of TL readers, the translator should use the kind of colloquial or speech vocabulary in TL. Okay, and the fifth one, the translator should choose and order words appropriately to produce the correct tone. Okay, see, this is the tone here refers to the feel. Okay, in what tone, in what feel does the original author say in this line? Okay, the same should be conveyed in the TL. Okay, so this is the fifth principle according to Dolet. And Dolet further says about the translation that he says understanding SL text is important. A translator should be a competent linguist, and translation is scholarly and sensitive appraisal of the SL text and awareness of the TL system. So he further says that understanding the SL text is more important. So he cannot translate just like that. Understand the SL text. Okay, he should be well versed in the SL text. Say for example, if I translate Thirukkural from Tamil to English, I should understand Thirukkural. I should be well versed in Thirukkural. Okay, often I should read the text and I should be well versed in Thirukkural, so that I may translate. I may be a good translator in translating Thirukkural, and also that I should the translator should be a competent linguist. Okay, so he should be a linguist. He should know the grammar structure, the vocabulary structure, the history of language, both in SL as well as in TL. And then only he can be a good translator. and the translation involves scholarly and sensitive appraisal of the SL text and awareness of the TL system. Okay, so the translator should the job of translation is it is a scholarly work. Okay, he should he should be a scholar. It is a kind of scholarly work, and he should have a sensitive appraisal. He should appreciate both SL as well as TL, the SL text as well as the SL language, as well as the TL language and grammatical system. And he should, in his heart, he should never consider. He should never consider that this language is great, this language is great. Likewise, such kind of things he should never consider. He should not never take into his mind. Okay, and George Chapman, the great translator of Homer, he points out points out 3 points. Okay. So George Chapman, he is a great translator of Homer from Greek to English, and he says, I mean, in his preface to translation, he says this point: the work of a skillful and worthy translator is to observe sentences, figures, and forms of speech proposed in his path, his true sense and height, and to adorn them with the figures and forms of oration fitted to the original in the same tongue to which they are translated. Okay, so the worthy of skillful. Okay, translation is a skillful work, and the worthy of a great skillful translator is to observe sentences and figures of speech. Okay, so what is the sentence structure one and its meaning, and the figures of speech used by the SL author. Okay, and that should at that point you should understand, and then the sense and height of the text. Okay, to what extent, to what tone, to what height the meaning is conveyed. Say, for example, to be or not to be in English by Shakespeare. It is a powerful word, and it has various levels of meaning, and the same should be conveyed in the TL also. Okay, then only he could be a great translator. And then the original, what is the original tone? Okay, that also should be translated in the TL, and what field that if the SL is read. Okay, if the reader, if an individual's mother tongue is English and he reads Hamlet, the same should be done in TL also. Okay, to that extent, the translator should be careful enough to translate. And he Chapman says that he labored a lot to translate Homer's Homer, and despite if there are some mistakes or loophole in his translation, he said he is most welcome to. He welcomes such kind of criticism, and he is ready to answer and ready to give explanation for his loopholes in his translation. Okay, that is what George Chapman says about his translation on Homer. Okay, and again Chapman says when he translates Iliad, he says 3 points. And first point is avoid word for word translation, and he advises the translator never go for word translation. And the second point, attempt to reach the spirit of the original, the main spirit, the main core, the main feel, the main essence of the original should be translated, and he should never compromise the spirit, the feel of the original. And then the third point, he says that avoid loose translation by basing translation on sound scholarly investigation of other versions and glosses. So he advises translators not to go for loose translation. That is, just like that, the translator cannot translate. He should think a lot. He should feel the SL text, and he should discuss with other scholars. Okay, and he should read other versions of translations also. Okay, then only he can be a good translator. That is what Chapman talks about his translation on Peliad. And some other theorists, during that time, some other theorists say that they say that Platonic doctrine, that is, translation is impossible. Okay, so that's what Plato says. Plato says that translation is impossible, and if he wants to convey convey a message from one language to another language, transmigration is possible. Translation is not possible. That's what some other theorists say. And what do you mean by transmigration? Transmigration is possible. So what do you mean by transmigration? That is, the tone of the original is recreated in another language. The main feel, the main tone, the main idea, that could be translated, but not a sentence or meaning. The main idea, taking the main idea, it could be translated in, but transmigrated into another language. That's what some other theorists say during this time. Okay, so that's the end of this topic, early theorist. We shall continue the further topic tomorrow. Okay, thank you.